Normally on this channel, I like to talk about, what's the big movie of the day, what's something people are talking about. Maybe it's a TV show that's really popular right now, or I'll go rank, the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the Batman films and Star Wars. Those are all things that I traditionally do. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to talk about a very, very small scale documentary. This is something that was clearly made with, very little budget and a passion project for the actor it involves. That's Val Kilmer, who really made a name for himself in Top Gun and then playing Batman in Batman Forever. So it's a very unique and an interesting documentary for a couple reasons. So thought I would talk about it. Let's go. Thanks so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, click on that red subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you know whenever I post a new piece of content. Documentaries have really exploded in popularity over the last couple years. At any point, you can really turn on Netflix or Hulu or Amazon, and you can watch a documentary on, the Cecil Hotel and a mysterious disappearance there. You can watch, something about a crazy cult that happened in the Pacific Northwest 30 years ago. You can watch a, Waco documentary on the Branch Davidians that happened in the mid 90s. So there's a ton of content out there when it comes to documentaries already. And it's hard to find one at this point that does something unique from a style standpoint. They're all very similar. You have a bunch of talking heads that know a lot about the subject. You have people who were involved directly with what happened. You have some archival footage from, the news documentaries and all this stuff that happens at the time of the subject. Val, which is literally just a, personal character piece about actor Val Kilmer, does things a little bit differently. It approaches the subject basically starting with Kilmer's early years and running up through modern day, tracking the course of his career. But it also is interspersed with, footage of him today after he had a procedure to treat his throat cancer and struggles to speak. So it's a combination of those two things. And then throughout that, it's threaded with archival footage that he has shot over the course of his career. We really have never seen an actor do anything like this before. He took thousands of hours of home video camera footage that he had shot for decades that were stored in a vault and had all of that digitized several years ago. And now this documentary is coming out where he basically walks us through all of that from his young career being the, youngest kid ever accepted into Juilliard up until, his career started to, kind of wane in the 2000s and really I'd say the 2010s. And it's very, very, very fascinating because Kilmer's an interesting guy. Nobody was ever doing anything like this before. So we get to see, shots of a young Sean Penn and Kevin Bacon when they were working with Kilmer on, a big play before any of them were really big name items. You get to see footage of, a younger Tom Cruise. There's a really fascinating look at the behind the scenes of the complete catastrophe, the island of Dr. Moreau. That one's particularly interesting because Kilmer had desperately wanted to work with actor Marlon Brando. And to see him kind of be disappointed that he doesn't get to really work with Brando because at that point the man was just a shell of his former self is really, really cool. It's hard to watch sometimes because you get to see his confrontation with director John Frankenheimer and his conversation with the other star of the movie, David Thewlis. And just seeing this glimpse into his personal life and thought process at the time as both a person and an actor is a really, really cool thing to see. It also tackles his emotional state throughout his life. The movie talks extensively about the death of his brother who drowned in the family jacuzzi after an epileptic seizure. And to see this stuff play out, really, footage of himself going through the grieving process, is really, really, really unique and not something we've ever seen before. So I think Amazon should be commended for making this happen. They're directly involved in the production and release of the film. It's got Amazon Studios, in the opening credits. I think they should be commended. And Kilmer, he certainly plays down some of his more, sinister aspects of his life. He was notoriously difficult to work with. Um, his struggles with dealing with the bat suit and how much he hated trying to be an actor and a performer while wearing that is really cool. Getting to see a little behind the scenes glimpse into one of my favorite movies, which is Tombstone, and the love that the fans still have for his character of Doc Holliday, and how he constantly gets stopped on the street by people and called Iceman because of Top Gun. All of these things make for a very um, enjoyable and unique. I feel like I'm using that word a lot. Unique experience. It's just something we've never seen before. So personal of a project for somebody. So, is it a vanity project? Yeah, maybe in some ways it kind of is. If he's playing down the more sinister aspects of his life and how difficult he was to work with, I have kind of mixed feelings on that. But he does talk about a little bit of that, but really plays it down overall. So, um, yeah, it's called Val. It's streaming on Amazon Prime Video if you want to check it out. And if you want a unique look at somebody kind of from the inside for the course of decades, this is a really cool way to enjoy an experience like that and get to see some other famous faces pop up along the way in footage that we've never seen before. I would consider checking this one out. Thanks so much for checking out the video. If you enjoyed it or found it helpful, please consider subscribing. You can also like and share it, since that tells YouTube it's worth promoting. Let me know down in the comments what you think of me talking about documentaries. What type of content do you want to see on the channel? That kind of feedback is really, really important to me as I continue to grow this into what I want it to be. So let me know, and I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m.